Welcome to today's collective reading. This is Trinity Gaia Oracle. I'm going to open with a resonance to the sound of G. So if your ears are a little sensitive, you can kind of skip ahead about 10 seconds and it should be a little less intense. But here we go. Okay, so I began today's reading hearing that power animal cards to be pulled were definitely desired. So let's see what the divine would like to say with Gaia. The animals of the earth, well, they are, definitely divine creations, just as the Gaia has a soul and is, connected with the divine just as we are. Animals are the same. They have souls, they are connected. Their life cycles, their patterns, their habits, everything has a synchronicity, something to teach us if we're willing to listen, if we're willing to look. Okay, so let's see here. Got at least two more here. First one out is the seahorse, though. I'm not sure what that one is. Also sea life, though. We got a lot of water-based animals here. That one's definitely the dolphin. So the seahorse, symbology, strength, guidance, transformation, feminine energy. There's a feminine form within the seahorse image here. Trying to make sure you guys get to see that real well. The art is just so beautiful. The Greek god Neptune or Poseidon. Maybe a synchronicity here for you guys. In that the chariot was pulled by seahorses. Then we have the gull, water creation and emotion. Sea and sky. The Greek goddess Aphrodite. Oh my gosh. It's not Aphrodite. I know that. So I'll just bring that real close. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, and I'm not going to butcher it anymore. I'll let you guys read that. Oh, okay. So that's the way they want it held. Okay. I just know that there's so much rich symbolism within art. Being raised by an artist, she kind of taught me a thing or two about how the human mind will perceive or break down an image. So the next one is dolphin, life, feminine energy, and sexuality. The womb, Demeter, which is also a Greek goddess. It's very Greek oriented right now. And this deck is, it's shamanic wisdom from all over the planet. It's not just Greek based. There's a lot of references in this animal deck that are from all over. So it's interesting that so much of it is around the Greek pantheon. It's like the life-giving force of feminine energy. All right. Okay. I'm going to do Empath Oracle. Wow, these are too big for my hands to do just one at a time. So let's see here. Ooh, identify your emotional triggers. Oh, that one, I don't know about you guys, but That one, when I pulled it, it had the ability to trigger me right away. Depending on where you're at and what's going on. Yep. And that's a raven ring, wing. I almost said ring. Interesting. A raven ring. Raven wing. So it'd be messages. Messages here. Odin. So there's a bit of like Norse Viking energy here. We absorb the emotions of others that remain unhealed in ourselves. As an empath, notice your triggers such as anger and fear and gently begin to heal them. Well, the first question I would have is A, why am I angry? And B, if this anger is more intense than it should be for why I would be familiar with why it would make me angry, then where is all this excess anger coming from? And if it's more than just mine, how do I reinforce those boundaries so that I can work with my own emotion and heal my own waters? You can't heal somebody else's emotions. They're the only one that really can because they know the details, the dynamics, the specifics. They know the context of their emotional state. You don't. You can be supportive and help them by simply, going, yeah, depending on where this energy is coming from, it could be something where they're unconsciously reaching for help. Okay, well, you can maybe try to help support them with alchemizing what you can, but if they mean you harm, if they're amplifying your anger, they're trying, and anger is not necessarily an unhealthy emotion, but when it causes you to act out in negative ways, especially involving others, it knocks you out of balance. And then we have stop sensory overload. If too much is coming at you too fast, decrease your stimulation level. Take a break from people, dim the lights, and savor the quietude. Some of you maybe are having migraines. As you go through your healing process, your whole body is evolving and growing and changing with you. And some people may call that ascension symptoms, but I have a background in body work. As you could see from my profile, I have Reiki master training. You hold emotional energy in your body, in the tension and how you move and how you breathe even. Excuse me, how you swallow even. If you're having migraines, you may be resonating with that because there are some very sensitive muscles that pull on every vertebra, and they're definitely part of swallowing. Drink water is what I'm hearing. If you're going through that, help your body flush out the toxins from those systems that are releasing the emotions. As you heal, your body will naturally begin to flush out anything that was stuck physically in that space. All right. Do you have any guidance from Tarot for collective? I just want to say that I'm so incredibly grateful to you guys. You're such beautiful souls. And I mean, yeah, you're in the process of learning and growing, and you know that some of this is definitely for you, and some of it, you've been there, you've done that, and it's probably definitely for someone else in particular, but because you've been there, you've healed that, you've lived that, you're part of creating the space for them to be able to hear it for the first time. So I'm very grateful to co-create with you guys. for all that love and that warrior energy, right? To just find your way through this, because the emotional stuff can sometimes be the most intimidating. When really, like, the only way to have freedom is to move through what is blocking you, what is holding you back, what you're resisting. And because emotions feel like they're an aspect that causes you to be out of control, you resist working with it. Or one would resist working with it, which is completely natural and understandable. So it takes a warrior to look that emotion right in the face and go, you're not going to control me, but I am going to learn about you, so you don't get to pull on me like this anymore. I'm going to understand you. Ooh, hopping. 2 of Cups in the upright. Balance, masculine, feminine, co-creating, union within yourself. The waters, like the movement. Even though there's chaos, there's still order. The method within the madness. Okay. It's a good phrase. Order to the chaos. Okay, 10 of Wands. This has not been easy, but you have been ready. You've been waiting for this. 3 of Wands. Ooh! All right. The Moon. Ooh, I'm getting transition to new phase. Interesting. Well, that makes perfect sense with the moon having phases, but it's a transition. This is like, whatever it is that you guys are approaching here, you chose your path, and you've been asking. It's like you've been sending this information out into the universe. Yeah, you maybe had a couple of other options, but you knew at least 3 aspects to this that you were not able or willing to give up. Like, they were vital. And yes, that can be the Trinity within self. That can be, those things are there because they are meant to be there. Okay, so if you had a part of you that anything going on in your emotional triggering was like, man, you need to be flexible here. You need to be willing to compromise and flow here. And you're like, no. Anything without this is unacceptable. Anything without this is just not okay. Anything other than this is unacceptable. Like, you just kept, being very like, would you stop asking me this? It's just so annoying and old and redundant and heavy. Yeah, because they wanted you to sacrifice this. They wanted you to go, you know what? I'm going to dump out all 9 of my cups in favor of whatever it is that you are trying to get me to agree to here. Interesting. So you're moving into a new chapter because whatever this is, maybe you were willing to sacrifice things that you just know to be true about you. It may not have anything to do with anyone else. Like, you just know this truth about yourself. Ooh, 2 of Swords energy in the reverse. You're no longer balancing on the edge of a knife with a decision. You've basically been like, you know what? I'm not going to let you keep asking this question. Next. Next. 4 of Wands. Yeah. So you've moved up the next step. You've moved up the next step. That's what this transition is. You're like, I'm done with you asking me this question over and over again. And with this balance, you have the ability to decide this. Not that you didn't before, but you weren't necessarily in balance with your own inner chaos to the extent that you would make order out of it. And when it comes to emotions, that's a challenge, especially if you have been avoiding those emotions, avoiding doing that work because you needed to be in control instead of your emotions being in control of you. You know, like wherever you are on that spectrum of coping with whatever these triggers are or have been. This is very emotion based. Okay, so what is this transition? What are we transitioning into here? What would you like us to know about this? Whoa, okay. You wanted me to bring that out, but you didn't. So we have the King of Swords in the reverse. Ooh. Okay, that's a juicy one. And I say it's juicy because it was a hard one for you to set down, that logic is not always king. Logic has its place. And it has, having the King of Swords at your back, especially if they're balanced, that's one heck of an ally to have, an energy within yourself to cultivate. But setting it down when it's become logic is the only thing you should ever hear, listen to, acknowledge, or work with, that's a challenge because logic is very convincing. And it can actually be harmful to you if it keeps you out of balance. So this may be something that you're going to be seeing more and more often where you're like, wow, before I did this inner work, I would have navigated this situation like this. And what a difference. And just floored by how much information you weren't actually allowing yourself to entertain that was water, intuition, emotion based. You possibly become aware exactly how big of a blind spot you had. And this, the Nine of Spheres in the inverted. Just backing that up, it's going to become more and more apparent to you how much this was possibly blocking your ability to move forward towards what you desired. Okay, so the collective is going to be seeing the contrast. Okay? Learning and observing and hearing, sharing. You may be teaching, modeling, even if this is just for, maybe you have a nephew or a niece, someone that is observing you, and they'll be learning about this just by watching how you move through life, how you're coping, how you're handling things different. But then again, you could be someone who is actively teaching, who is speaking about these things with people. Okay. Six of Wands in the reverse, because you know what it is to feel like there is no way out. You know what it is. And you are... I'm getting countdown energy here because we have the Five of Cups in the upright. You know what it is to take that energy and go, okay, well, maybe 3 cups aren't working. Maybe parts of them are. And between the 3 of those cups, taking what works for me and discarding what doesn't leaves me with 2 full cups. And now I have what I actually want, what I need, what will work. It's helping yourself to be okay with some things ending so that other things can begin. And modeling that. Teaching. The Lover's card. Teaching When this card comes in this particular deck, it's very, very potent. Very, very potent. Very potent. And I'm going to say it's potent because it's a sign that where you are on your journey, it is vital. It is necessary for you to grow as an individual, as a soul, to learn more about yourself, to free yourself more fully. You need a mirror that is your opposite predominantly, yet the same as you in all the ways that allow you to see yourself in them as a mirror more clearly. And you know what? I mean, it's not exactly explicit, but I'm going to cover that just because some people may be very sensitive to images. And even though these are abstract images, it is a suggestive image. Okay. What are you juggling? And knowing the truth within what you juggle. I think this is so speaking to me here. It's like you're trying to do so much, and you know the truth in and amongst the deception. Yes. And I think we all kind of know what that's like sometimes, where you have to be like, all right, okay, so how could others perceive how this may land? How what am I desiring things to be perceived as versus how they actually are? And if I desire them to be perceived as they actually are, I have to consider my audience. There's that energy to it. So with the lovers, it's adding even that kind of an aspect to the interaction. Because you have to make the sun, you have to make the chariot together, you have to choose that path. The mirror isn't like going to tell you everything you want to hear. This other person, this other energy isn't going to just tell you what you want them to say to you. It's not about agreeing with you to agree with you. It's about being brutally honest with one another while being considerate. So you could be blunt and frank and to the point, and yeah, I mean, the truth may land, but will it wound when it does? Will it hurt more because you didn't try to find a way for it to not be so harsh of a delivery? It's that consideration. So we have, giving, choosing to give, to come out of, being out in the cold. So there may be a feeling of separation, of distance, of time. So we have a choice to give to love towards someone who is receptive to abundance, who is independent and fiercely almost independent. Someone who they know doesn't need them to be okay. So in bringing in that offering of love, of affection, of knowledge, of your heart space, being vulnerable, it takes courage. And that needs to be acknowledged, that needs to be valued and understood. Because with this much highlight with like emotional triggers and emotions, there's been some scars and some wounding on both sides of this connection, but you both have done the work to get here. So what do we need to know about the lovers? Okay. So we have the Eight of Pentacles and Hermit. So everything that you're juggling, in spite of the distractions, you've kept balance, you've kept it afloat, and it has allowed the divine, when you've been working through this work has been acknowledged. And you have reached that level where you're ready for this. We have the Page of Swords in the reverse. This is just saying, like, be careful with You're careful, not be careful. You are careful with the truth that you share. Feeling this is an individual that typically holds their cards close to them, doesn't share, especially when it comes to the emotions that are happening deep within them. This may be something that is both sides, because you have to be able to understand each other enough to find middle ground, to see yourself, to actually challenge one another, to heal with the contrast that you do have. Wow, there's so many reverses here. So you hold the truth and the willingness to give. The question is, are you willing to receive? This is what you called in. This is what you manifested. So I have a feeling you might find yourselves at times, because if one of you is fiercely independent, the other one's going to be fiercely independent too. There may be times where you're like, what? This is my blessing? This is the other person for me to learn from? Yes. And the very reason that you're like, wait, what, is the confirmation that you need. Now I'm talking about, a healthy, balanced, caring, loving individual that is first like loving of themselves. Someone who don't need you to be okay, but chooses to have you there because, well, they want you there. They know that life is more life. They're more alive with you there. Okay. I kind of like the feeling you guys are just like at this precipice. Like you have some pretty serious questions. Yet again, the magician came out again saying this is your manifestation. So if you're being triggered by one another, it's because you're learning. You're healing. Every time you would maybe interact and there would be a moment of just raw honesty, it was definitely very heavy with caring, with love. But it maybe threw you into chaos until you found order again. Yeah, the King of Wands in the upright. This is a very passionate thing for you to keep coming back, You know that you're evolving, that you're growing, that you're healing. That's why you keep manifesting. That's why you keep coming back to interact for that truth. Because you feel the need for judgment. You feel the need for things to change. And you feel the ripple effect. It doesn't just have darkness in this image. There is light in the resonance. So it is positively affecting, not just negatively affecting change. That may be new. There may be something new. And on the Ten of Cups, it is new because the light in these ripples is Ten of Cups. Like when you see that ripple there, it's lighter degrees of gray to white versus here it's very polarizing. So that I'm hearing eroding, like erosion of the ick in their life, in their environment, in your life, in your environment, as a result of continually like coming back for this triggering healing. It's like this person will actually give you the truth, even if it hurts you, because they love you so much that they will not sugarcoat it. There's a difference between being considerate of someone when you give them the truth and trying to tell them that their butt doesn't look big in those pants when it definitely does look too big in those pants and it's not flattering their figure. But if they were to wear this, it would flatter their figure and their butt would look great. Like, you're going to tell them, hey, this would look really good on you. This one is not really emphasizing your derriere to its greatest attributes. You're not putting their body down. You're saying this garment doesn't flatter you, but this one does. Doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's playing to your strengths, valuing one another. Sugarcoating it would be saying, oh yeah, sure, it looks fine. It'd be lying. It'd be deceptive. It would be misleading. Exactly. It wouldn't be actually protecting or being honest. It would be false. So you have someone who is going to give you the truth, even if it means it hurts. Even if it means it hurts them to give you that truth. They love themselves enough to know that they would not be okay with not giving you the truth when they could have. Because they knew that truth would actually help you. And they would have to live with not telling you that truth. And they would become unhappy with themselves for not doing what they could have to help you. This is someone who will tell you the truth because they love themselves enough to love you. To treat you the way they would want to be treated, the golden rule. And the Lovers, it came out upright. This is the order in the chaos, the consistency. The thing that you can constantly count on is that you both want the best for one another. And it's eroded whatever obstacle would be present, whatever restriction or turbulence. It has found a way, just like water. Over a long period of time, it will erode anything. I mean, you look at the Grand Canyon. What was it like at its inception? What was it like when the first drop of water hit it? You know, like, you look at some of the effects that water has had on the natural environment. There's one particular, I think it's like the twin something. I can't remember, but the way that the scientists displayed it or presented it in the documentary, they're like, this is like dropping water on beach sand. And these two pieces remaining connected perfectly. The mathematical chances of that are so astronomically small. It's why there's so much beauty in nature. Because this is on a grand scale. That was how much water, like, flooded that area. You could see the ripple effects in the geography. It was definitely from a water motion, but it was an immense force. So that's on like on a grand scale, but it originally started with one drop of water, the stubbornness of this is truth, this is truth, this is truth, this is truth. The path of least resistance is here. Occam's razor. More often than not, the simplest explanation is the truth. Occam's razor. Huh. Maybe you finally accepted, and it could be like finally, like, maybe this is in the past. Maybe this is where this happened, where it's a new phase. You accepted that what was being presented to you was actually what it was telling you it was. It wasn't lying or deceiving you. If you've only ever known that, yeah, you're going to have a lot of emotional triggers. Whew, boy, it's why this whole thing started with water. But when you finally accepted that crucial point, everything shifted. You realized that when they acted like they cared, they weren't just acting. They really did care. That when they said a truth, or when you shared the truth with someone, this individual genuinely, accepted now that you really did care. There wasn't an agenda. How could there be an agenda? You stood to lose what they would have thought your whole strategy was to get closer. But in giving them that truth, you knew you were creating distance. You knew you were creating a space of 5 of Pentacles out in the cold. But you gave them that truth anyway. And that shifted things. They realized that they were dealing with a real one. You realized you had someone who was real. And they were focused in this way on you. They wanted to create with you. Wow. I might just title this one Occam's Razor, guys, because whoa, that's heavy. I don't really think that there's anything to say other than that. Like, shit. I hope you guys are feeling this energy here, because this is creating a lot of change. Because you know if this is for you. You'll know. You'll know. As I said, this is for a connection. This is for someone who finds themselves in a dynamic with another someone who literally is a healthy, balanced individual. This is not about toxic connection. This is not about a gender manipulation. This is pure. This is someone who loves you enough to give you every reason to have a better life in walking away, giving you the opportunity to walk away. Because many people don't have the strength to own that someone loved them enough to be this honest with them and still be like, man, there's nobody else that I would want to have in this space with me. But I'm going to tell you that a connection like this is not for the faint of heart, because it's going to require you to be able to do the same. It's the reason the Lover's card came out. It's equal. It's equal give and take. They're going to need the truths that will hurt just as much as you're willing to give the truths that will hurt. They're going to need to be able to do the same. But, man, know that you guys keep coming back. Nobody else can give you this. Nobody else ever has. Simply, they can't reach you. I mean, you guys are very stubborn, strong individuals. At least that's what I'm picking up on, because you've survived a lot. A lot. And you found a way to connect with someone who's able to understand you. Man, I want to leave this reading here. So, the divine within me honors the divine within you. The love within me honors the love within you. Namaste.